Hey, everybody. Make sure my microphone is on. Hey, hey, hey. I actually did go live on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to stay up on YouTube, but we live there too. Hello, Gia. Hey, Siafu. All right. We are live. Here we are for another conversation about this world we live in. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing today? Hey, Charmaine. Let's get it, Siafu says. Y'all know when I wear this shirt. There's some AAF conversation that's about to go down. So just be ready for that. It's funny, I was on the phone. Thank you, Charmaine. I was on the, that's what you do to the hair when it gets messy at the end of the week. You just sweep it all up into one thing. I was talking to a client earlier this week, and I said, she said, what state are you in again? And I said, oh, Atlanta, Georgia. She went, oh. That's where I live now, the state of, oh. Let me tell y'all, humanity is a hot mess right now. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a hot damn mess. And there's some crazy things going on. Not only in hot Atlanta, Georgia, where things are more than temperature hot right now. Things are hot everywhere. I was having a conversation with my 25-year-old son. He is in the performing arts industry. And apparently things are very hot on social media too. Heat. And I don't know if it's just his industry or not. I'm not on social media. The only social media platform I'm on is right on YouTube. That's it. I'm not on Facebook. I don't even have anything out there. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not anywhere. And I think I'm gonna stay there. But he was telling me that it is a veritable Me Too movement out there right now with regard to anti-racism. I'm just saying, it is a Me Too movement. People are just posting their stories left and right. And I'm grateful to see that the unity that is arising around the subject. And we're going to talk about the awakened perspectives in a second. But it's interesting from the story he told me that he's saying is a lot of it is out there is that, you know, everybody trying to get on the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Not everybody's qualified to get on that bandwagon, apparently. But everybody hopping at the hashtag Black Lives Matter out on Twitter and Facebook, and careers are coming down, as a matter of fact. But he's telling me this story of somebody posted their story about how, you know, how they were discriminated against or whatever. And we'll talk about people in terms of The Color by Sam Adams. If you don't know what I'm referring to, go to YouTube and search for Sam Adams chocolate indulgence. So a chocolate indulgence person posted their story, and a papaya smoothie person commented on their story and said, so sorry that happened to you, hashtag Black Lives Matter. You can always come where I am at. We're pretty open or whatever. Well, apparently somebody hopped into the stream and said, really? Is that why you used the N-word? I think that was the end of Bradley's career right there. I don't know if his name is Bradley, but that's the end of Bradley's career right there. And then he said he was denying it. And now it's not just the chocolate indulgence people jumping in, is everybody of every color. So there were chocolate indulgence people going, I was there, I heard it. Papaya smoothie people, I was here, I was there, I heard it. That's the end of Bradley's career. So here's my PSA. I'm just gonna give a short PSA, a short comedic PSA. I know, Bradley, you might be playing basketball with Trayshawn on the weekend, but that don't mean your record clean, Bradley. I'm just saying, if your record's not clean, you might not be running up with the hashtag Black Lives Matter. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. PSA. Check your record before you jump in the bandwagon. It is a hot mess out there. People's careers going up in smoke. So listen, Becky Sue, if your record look like Karen in Central Park, have a seat, ma'am. Don't be posting hashtag Black Lives Matter because they coming to get you. They're humans are not, they're not forgiving. I don't care if you came to Jesus since then. But people are taking people down out there. It is a hot damn mess, and HR is not playing. You might want to Google your name if you have a record, because HR be knocking. Can we have a moment with you, Becky Sue? HR is not playing. HR is not trying to finna get dragged through the court system. HR taking people out on probate. Take you out. It is a hot mess on social media. It is a hot mess in Hotlanta, Georgia. But when you're AAF, right, Gia? When you AAF, you just watching the production, the theatrical production going down. You know, everybody think I'm, you know, I ain't getting caught up in what's going on in Hotlanta, Georgia. I'm just saying. I'm just putting a PSA out there. If your record look like Karen in Central Park, have a seat, ma'am. Have a seat, because they will tear you down out there on social media. Not everybody's record straight enough to jump on the bandwagon, because people are not playing with you out there right now. Oh my God. See, I put you, what was your color? Shay? I know I am Moroccan sky. I'm not dark enough to be chocolate indulgence, even though I love the term. I'm Moroccan sky. So Shay color. Everybody's jumping on board right now. It's a good thing. I'm enjoying the unity that's blossoming out of all of this. But let me tell y'all though, not every Becky Sue, not A. Bradley could jump on the bandwagon right now. Just be very careful. Be very careful. Some people put it hashtag Black Lives Matter, and then 2 days later, you don't see that post no more. We're gonna take it down. I don't think my record's that clean. I'm just saying, everybody's jumping on board, but not everybody got a clean record. Check your record. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I'm just saying, everybody jumping on board, but not everybody got to check their record first. This is not a kind world we live in right now. People will take you down. In a New York minute, they will take you down. I'm just saying. Gia saying she's brown sugar bay. Okay. Brown sugar bay. All right. Well, listen, the reason I titled this broadcast 2% is because a lot of what I'm going to share today, I'm not going to be here for long, but I should never say that, because I say I'm not here for long and then I'm here for 2.5 hours. So I don't plan to be here for long, but I might be here for 2.5 hours. I don't know. The reason I titled this 2% is because of some experiences I had this week, and I'll share those with you. But a lot of what I'm going to share today, quite honestly, is really for Awakened AF people. If you ain't Awakened AF, you about to get real mad at me. You might even unsubscribe. But only about 2% of this entire planet is actually spiritually awakened enough to hear me with what I'm about to share here today. And I really am just continuing the conversation, raising the vibe and raising awareness to what role we play as AAF people, okay? If you're not AAF, you're gonna get really uncomfortable today. I'm putting it out there, okay? I did go live on YouTube. I was not gonna go live on YouTube because I'm like, YouTube can't get this. I know the people that subscribe to me most likely will get it, but some, might not and might still unsubscribe. I don't care about unsubscribes, as you all know. I'm not here for thumbs up, thumbs down, unsubscribe, subscribe, like. That is not why Allison incarnated on this planet. I don't care what you do. Okay, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be who I am here to be, who I'm called to be, what my message, the inspiration that I'm receiving, and the message that I'm here to share with the world. So 2% of this planet will understand and get at the heart what I'm saying today. The rest of you will be very pissed off. Okay. So just letting you know, if you need to hit the unsubscribe button, you're more than welcome. Have a good life. But I'm going to go on doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the world. So I think and you know, when you're spiritually awakened, you do not, as you know, see the world the way everyone else sees the world. You know, you just don't. You don't. When you are aware of the theatrical nature of the world that we live in, when you are aware that this skin that you're in is temporary, right? And this physical form that you're in is temporary, and everything that's happening around you is really just a theatrical production called Life on Planet Earth. And when we're done with this theatrical production, we all go back to the light and we're all one. So a lot of what is playing out, you can get caught up in, but if you're in the 2%, you could get a little bit of the smidgen. You could get splashed, as I was saying to my girlfriend the other day. My girlfriend and I, sidebar, my girlfriend and I had this conversation the other day about the last live stream that I did. And I forgot that her mother was born and raised in Trinidad. I've never connected with anyone who has told me that they had the experience that I have had, that I shared in the last live stream. But it was really interesting to connect with my girlfriend because she was sharing that her mom was born and raised in Trinidad. And she's like, yeah, she had the same experience where you just don't connect with what's happening, you know, with chocolate indulgence and brown sugar bay people here in America. You don't have the history, you don't have the density of pain, and you don't feel the oppression and the heaviness that other people may be feeling. And she grew up with a mother that was from Trinidad and a dad that was born and raised in the United States. So I was joking with her. I was like, oh, so you got splashed with it, but you didn't get soaked. Because she was saying, yeah, I kind of, you know, I mostly don't think about it, but because my father had that background and that, you know, that history, there was some of it in my family. I was like, oh, so you got splashed, you didn't get soaked, you know? So it's interesting to hear. It was very interesting to hear from her. That's the first other person that I've ever heard who can say, yeah, my mom had kind of the same story because she grew up in Trinidad. She didn't grow up here. And she said her mom never really connected with what was going on with the whole racial thing over here, as I never did. So it's good to hear that because I've never heard anyone, like my sister grew up with me, but like I said, she got a little soaked. She immigrated and got a little soaked with the background and the history here. So I really have never heard anyone, you know, live here and not feel connected to that history as much as I never did. So it was interesting to hear from her that what was going on with her mom as well. So again, a lot of what I will share, only 2% will understand, will get it. I was listening to another spiritual teacher. He's Papaya Smoothie. And he's talking about the whole situation from a very awakened perspective, as I will today. And of course, was ripped to shreds by people who were saying, yeah, you can talk like that because you have white privilege. You know what's interesting? When you're from a different country, as I am from Trinidad, you come over here and people go, there's white privilege. Right? Well, when you're from another country that's a third world country that ain't got much, this whole country's privileged. You know what I mean? When you're sitting in Trinidad with not much at all, not even good shoes, not good clothes, you know what I mean? And you fixing to go to America, you're like, you're going to the land of privilege. You know what I mean? And for you, from your perspective, everybody in the US of A is privileged. You know what I mean? So it's so interesting to see the perspectives. I was joking with my girlfriend whose mom is from Trinidad, that, you know, I also forgot that I had that Trini immigrant mindset. You know, when you're growing up in Trinidad, and you're considering the perspective or the possibility of going to live in the US, your primary thing that gets hammered into you when you get over there and you making American dollars, you send some back to Trinidad, right? So while you're here and you get an American job and you're making American dollars, your focus is send money back to family, send money, send clothes, send money back, send clothes, send money back, send clothes. That's your focus, especially when your whole family is over there. And for me, I was the first child. My dad lived over here, but I was the first child to immigrate to the US. And so for me, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with y'all, but I got to work to send money and clothes back home. You know what I mean? So a lot of my mindset going through the world was really focused on, I'm here and I am supposed to be sending money and clothes back to Trinidad. And it's still that way. When I hop on a plane and I go back to Trinidad, I have one little carry-on suitcase that has my stuff in it, and I have two giant suitcases filled with stuff for my family. That's the expectation. You cannot go back home and not have two suitcases full of clothes to give to your family. That's sort of the mindset, right? So when you're here, and even though you're amidst the whole, racial thing that's going on, and you know that it's at play, your mind is preoccupied. I got to send money back to my family back in Trinidad. I'm making American dollars right now. You know what I mean? So it's very, very different, for someone who was not born and raised here. So what I'm going to do is I'll play. Will I play? Let me see if I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to play the audio for you all. This week, if you were in the or if you're on my email list, as I was sharing with people who are email subscribers, I had a lot of conversations with Spirit this week about the world, and what's going on in the world, and really just having heart-to-heart conversations with them. In our last conversations with Spirit last week, Sunday, as you know, each month, there's a message that comes through me focused on a particular topic. And last week, Sunday, our non-physical co-creators had a message about relationships, very powerful message about relationships, because they were emphasizing that relationships that we have with each other is what then gets put out into the world. You know what I mean? And we're very quick to go, why is all this happening in the world? And anytime I go to Spirit on that, I'm always get pointed back to myself. Are all your relationships okay? And we're very quick to say, here's what's going on in the world. I wish the world would be different, right? But what's the world? The world is filled with individual people. You know what I mean? So we each have our own individual roles to play in all of this. And I'm going to be talking about that in a second too. Hey, Stephanie girl. So what I'm going to play next is one of the conversations that I had with our non-physical co-creators. And then I'm going to talk about some of the experiences that I had this week and interesting observations, and really just bringing us back as the 2% awakened people on this planet. Because we don't have to be 100%, it doesn't have to be 50% spiritually awakened people to affect change. But I think we do have to remember how we do that, And the experience that I had this week was very interesting, where I'm like, no, we need to come back. We need to come back to what we know and what we know to be true, And even if I'm the only chocolate indulgence person on this planet with a microphone and a platform, choosing to stick with what I know to be universal principles, I'm going to stick with it because I know this is how the world works. So let me play the message, get that up here. And then I'll come back and just share some of the experiences that I had this week and what, a lot of the conversation that I had with Spirit was just about the inequality and our cry for justice. And I'll share some perspectives on justice as well. And again, only 2% of y'all are going to get it. The rest of y'all are going to unsubscribe. Okay, so don't say I didn't tell you. So it's very, very different. And first I'll share this message, and then I'll come back and share, what my experiences have been, and, some of the things that have come into my experience this week that caused me to just start to reflect on things in a very different way. So let me first share, hold on. Okay.
What's your message for me right now? What do you want for me to know in this moment? Me or us as a collective? What do you most want for me to know? See us, hear us, know that we are right here in the midst of all of this with you. We haven't gone anywhere. Yes, things are shifting and changing, but we haven't gone anywhere. How do you rise above it all? You remember who you are. That is how you rise above anything that is decidedly human. You remember who you are. Beloved, what if this is all for your own awakening, your own remembering? For if you are indeed able to transcend this with love and in love, what could you not transcend? These are perceived to be difficult times indeed. But remember, you chose to be here for this. And remember why you chose to be here for this. To be a force of light to be reckoned with. To expand the light that you are so far above and beyond all that is transpiring, that you see nothing but light. We're not asking you to ignore what is occurring. We're asking you to see the light that you are in the midst of it. See that we are here as fellow light beings with you in the midst of all of this. And yes, we want you to become aware that this is seemingly insurmountable. That is just one perspective. That is just one belief. Seems insurmountable. It is not. Where is your attention? Where is your focus? Where is your heart? What are you giving your time and attention to in this moment? in this week, in this month? What do you choose to give your time and attention to? For in all experiences, beloved, that which you focus on, that which you give your time and attention to, in this your chosen vibrational universe, will always expand. What is your choice, beloved? We have no judgment for you, no matter what your choice is. We simply want for you to become aware of your innate ability to focus, to choose with your focus that which you want to experience. You make your choice with your focus. You choose what you want to expand in your reality, in your world, and in your own personal experience with what you choose to focus on. What is your choice? We are here with you no matter what your choice is. Again, we simply say, we want you to become aware. We invite you to become aware of your focus. What is your focus? Are you focused on that which you want more of? Is that your focus? You know that it can seem challenging to shift your focus to that which is desired and away from that which is not desired. But you have the power to choose, beloved. You always have had the power to choose. We are with you 24/7, no matter what you choose. We are with you 24/7, no matter where you are vibrationally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Know that you are loved. No matter what space you choose to be in, know that you are loved. We see all that is occurring. Everything is known. There is nothing that is unknown. And we are each here to assist you through this experience. We've always been here. We've never left. When you choose to focus on our presence with you, you'll feel us in every moment when that becomes your focus. We've never left. Amidst the chaos, we've never left. Amidst the fears, we've never left. Amidst the sadness, we have never left. Amidst your desire for evolution, we have never left. You are here in this time and space for the opportunity to expand your love and your light in a time when it seems that love and your light is dimmed. You have the power to turn up the volume on your love, to turn up the volume on your light. You have the power to do that. You are innately equipped to do so. And when you do, when you make that choice, you impact your world. When you make that choice vibrationally, emotionally, you impact your world. We are here with you. Call upon us at any time. In the moments when you feel you need an infusion of love, an infusion of hope, we are happy to send you the energy of love, to send you the energy of hope, to send you the energy of peace. We are here for this. You are here for this. For when you are filled, when you are filled, when you are filled, you can then overflow with that love, with that light. You can then overflow to everyone that comes into contact with you. You must be filled first. You must be filled first. You must be filled first. Choose that which you want to be filled with. And when you choose to be filled with love, and you choose to be filled with light, there you are, in the midst of your world, emanating precisely that. Nothing is more powerful than the emanation of your love and of your light in the midst of what is perceived to be insurmountable or challenging times. This is our message for you, simply to remind you that you are innately equipped to pulse out such a powerful vibration of love and such a powerful vibration of light. That you greatly impact the very world you think or perceive to not be able to affect. Know that when you make that choice, you are affecting your world instantly, powerfully. It takes only one of you to make that choice. And when you collectively make that choice, the impact is multifold. You can make that choice, beloved. You can make that choice.
We can make that choice. And I just want to underscore some of what was shared there very quickly. Choose what you want to be filled with first, and that is what spills out into the world. You are innately equipped to pulse out such a powerful vibration of love and light that you greatly impact the very world you think you will not be able to affect. And when you do so, you are affecting the world instantly. Instantly. This week, for whatever reason, because I know that my history isn't the same, because I know that I don't have, from what I shared in the last live stream, I have lived here without the oppression that other chocolate indulgence people feel. And I've lived here without the pain and without the fear that a lot of people are living with. Chocolate people, Moroccan sky people. um, for whatever reason, I said, so maybe it's easy for me to stay in what I know to be true about the laws of this universe and to look at this situation through the lens of universal law. So I said, okay, so maybe it'd be helpful to find other chocolate indulgent spiritual leaders and go hear what they're saying, so that if someone knocks on my door, I can go, and this person is also sharing the same thing, and they have lived with what you have lived with. Because, as you know from our last live stream, I haven't lived with what a lot of other beautiful chocolate people have lived with. So I thought of 4 people off the top of my head that I know have pretty large platforms. We're talking 20, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. And I don't normally follow them, so I'm not subscribed. So I went on YouTube and I was like, well, they must be talking about this. So whatever their latest video is, I'm sure has to do with this issue. And I was like, okay, so let me just find some other chocolate people who I know has historically talked about the laws of this universe and the energetic basis by which we live, even though we choose to be blind to it at times. Certainly, if you're in the 98%, you're completely blind to the energetic nature of this universe. So I went looking, and I spent 4 hours watching the most recent post video by each of the people that I looked up, because I knew that historically they've talked about the laws of this universe. And I didn't find what I thought I would find. No one was talking about the laws of this universe with regard to this issue. Everyone was talking about enough is enough. It's time to take action. Here are all the actions we can take, which is fine. As I was watching everything, there was one person, one chocolate person. I only watched 4, so maybe there are others out there. One who shared from a place of compassion about what's happening and returned to reminding people of the laws of this universe. Just so happens, he ain't from this country. So probably doesn't have the history either. So a lot of what was being shared was very much, here's what we need to do, here's the actions we need to take, here's the list of actions. But there was zero reference to the laws of this universe. And, my divine team very quickly reminded me that everyone's here living exactly what they're here to live. And also reminded me that everyone is living through the filters of their own experiences, right? And this is a pretty heavy experience to live through, given the history of this country. And reminded me that there is no judgment for anyone wherever they're at. But it was very interesting to me to see that essentially the laws of this universe were pushed aside. And what was being advocated for was only action and only, the repeated message of enough is enough. We need to take action. We need to do something. Here's the list of things we need to do, which is totally fine. Everyone just is where they are, right? There's no specific place that anyone needs to be. You know what I mean? Everyone is living from where they're at right now. But it was just very, very interesting to me, because When the message is how to get a car, how to get a new car, or how to get more money, the law of attraction is forefront. You know, when we as spiritual leaders talk about, you know, how to move into the space of financial abundance, everyone talks about what you think is what you get. What you focus on is what you get. If you want a lover, what you focus on is what you get, right? There's all these different processes and things for how to manifest a lover, how to manifest a car, how to manifest money, how to manifest this. And the message is very consistent in terms of manifesting things, you know, just manifesting things. If you want money, this is what you do. You have a vision board and you meditate all day long and you visualize the thing that you want, right? And thoughts create things is the predominant message, right? And that's like the predominant message for money, for cars, for houses, for lovers. But when it comes to this very heavy racial issue, that's not being talked about at all. Only action is being talked about. And again, it's totally fine. I understand what's happening. But the laws of this universe doesn't change because the issue is heavier. It's the same laws, right? If we're advocating for the awareness of the laws of this universe for money, cars, and lovers, and health, we can also advocate for the laws of the awareness for the laws of this universe for racial harmony. If that's what is desired, then the same principles apply. It doesn't change. The laws of this universe doesn't change because the topic is uncomfortable. The laws of the universe doesn't change because we're fed up with what's happening. The laws of the universe doesn't change because we're saying enough is enough. You know what I mean? And I'm here to say and to remind you all that the laws of the universe doesn't change. So if we are heavily focused on police brutality and all of the energy is focused on that, we get more police brutality. Would we not? If we understand the laws, and again, I'm not talking to the 98%, I'm talking to the AAF people. Awaken as fuck. You know that if you focus on something with all of your emotional and vibrational energy, that is what you get more of. The laws of the universe hasn't changed because the topic changed, right? Just because you shifted from wanting a lover to wanting anti-racism doesn't mean that the formula changed. It's the same, right? So if you focus on murder, you get more murder, right? It's kind of like how there's this breast cancer awareness. I don't want to be aware of breast cancer. I want to be aware of health. So we think we're doing the right thing when we amp up the focus on the thing that is not desired. But the 2% of us who are AAF know that if we focus our attention on the thing that is not desired, we get more of that. I was joking with someone the other day, and I don't mind people protesting. Everybody is where they are. I have no judgment for that. If you feel like protesting, go protest. But I was joking with somebody the other day, and I said, when you're yelling, no justice, no peace, I don't know if I could be on board with that because I'm gonna keep my peace, sister. I'm keeping my peace. We talk a lot about equanimity, right? Our ability to remain in that peaceful state no matter what is arising. And I'm not saying that you cannot experience human emotion. If you watch my last live stream, I talked about the anger I felt and the frustration I felt and the sadness I felt. And I didn't have the history that everyone is dealing with. So I know that it's much more profound. Interestingly, one of the leaders that I was listening to When the whole thing with George Floyd happened, George Floyd's murder, she was filled with so much anger, pain, and frustration that she chose to go into stillness and prayer rather than talking to her community about it. Well, they ripped her to shreds because she didn't say a word for 2 weeks. People started posting, she's wimping out. How could you not stand for this? How come you're not saying anything? Why are you being quiet? Da, 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 da. And she was just processing it for herself in stillness and in prayer and silence. And that was not good enough. People want to hear chocolate people outraged about this and pushing for action and pushing for whatever. And I'm totally fine with however people are processing this, because everyone is processing it in a way that they're able to right now. And certainly 98% of the world will process it from our primitive nature. And this entire planet is very primitive, very, very primitive. We think we evolved. No, ma'am, we're not. It's so interesting. I was sitting with my divine team this week and talking about justice and the word justice. And they were sharing with me. And again, I'm talking to the 2%. If you ain't into 2%, you ain't gonna get this. You're gonna unsubscribe, you're gonna be mad. The word justice in conversation with my divine team comes from a very primitive perspective. Well, there were two sides of it that I had conversations with my divine team about. Those of you who are in conversations with spirit, all of the conversations that I had this week, not all of them, but I shared 4 of them with you all, so you can go listen to it. But had this conversation with justice, and justice is very much an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, very primitive perspective. By the way, I highly recommend Neil Donald Walsh's book that I played a little bit of in the last live stream with regard to how we can, as a civilization, become more highly evolved beings, because we're nowhere close. We are very primitive in the way that we handle life on Earth right now. There's no judgment for that. It just is. Okay, we're just there right now, which is why people are getting torn down on social media for whatever racial thing they were involved in. It's where we're at. We're very much an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And we call that justice. Like, if you kill somebody, we gonna kill you. That's justice. If you hurt somebody, we want to see you suffer. That's justice. If you kill somebody, we need to see you, your family, everybody involved with you suffer. That's justice. But the laws of this universe doesn't change. Do we believe in oneness or do we not? Do we believe that we are one or do we not? Do we believe in separation or do we not? I'm not saying if somebody murders another person, they should be set free. We're not there. We are so not there. We're just so not there. So we deal with things in a very primitive way. There are beautiful things happening in the prison system, though, where I forget who the Buddhist monk was who started a program to take meditation into the prisons and have had hardcore murderers on meditation pillows. And simply meditation is changing their lives. Somebody gets it. But in our primitive society, we advocate for pain. Pain, you cause pain, we're gonna cause pain to you. There is another side to justice, and I was talking to my divine team about that, where it's like, well, there's another side too, where we just want to see everyone treated equally. Isn't that, we want to see everyone treated just and equally. And there's that other side, right? In response, my divine team, and those of you who are in conversations with spirit, you can you can hear that whole conversation. But they were talking about, you talk about just, and you talk about fairness, and you talk about equality. But if you move back into your place of who you truly are, which is love and light, none of these things arise, because you just become the love and the light that you are. And from that space, it's kind of like what they were saying in the beginning. If you embody the love and the light that you are, you don't need to even contemplate whether to treat someone with fairness. It just occurs in your experience because that is who you are. And a lot of what they were sharing in those conversations is when we remove what we're not, what we are blossoms quite naturally. It doesn't take effort. It's just a remembering of who we truly are, right? And I know that we cannot, and I do not always stay in that place of remembering who I truly am all the time, you know? And I know we slip back into the 98% when the shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? And in that first week after George Floyd was murdered, I did feel anger, and I did feel frustration, and I did feel some degree of outrage. But for me, and perhaps it is because I don't have that deep-seated, deeply rooted pain, those moments were 30 seconds long for me. They were a minute long, at most 60 seconds. It didn't last much longer than that, and I returned to the truth of who I am. But I am spiritually awakened. And I don't have the deeply rooted pain that others have experienced. So I think we need to give people the space to process things in the way that they feel most comfortable processing it, even though we disagree, even though we can't see how they don't see how we're seeing it, you know? The protests that are happening, the outrage that's happening, everything that's happening is exactly as my divine team constantly said to me this week. Everything is as it should be for you all, for this world to evolve, or this version. They keep reminding me there's many parallel reality versions of Earth. We're just in one of them, you know. The version that we've chosen to explore right now, this is how we've chosen to move through it. And the same principles apply. That which you believe becomes your reality. So if the mass consciousness at play here believes that only action can bring about change, then that's what we get to experience. Only action can bring about change. It's slower. It's slower than the vibrational thing, right? And there's plenty of studies to show that if a collective group of people come together and meditate and choose to focus on that which we desire, it affects the city. It affects you heard that in the last broadcast. It affects our world. But 98% of our world doesn't get that, right? So we are where we are. We are where we are. No judgment for how anyone is processing this, okay? Because everyone is moving through this shit in a way that feels resonant for them. And we have to give people the space to grieve in the way that everyone grieves in a different way when someone passes, you know? Everyone feels a different thing, you know, everyone is in a different place. And there has to be space for allowing people to be where they are, wherever they are in this. And also for those of us who are AAF, that 2%, to come back into the knowing of who we truly are, so that we can play the role that we decided to be in this mess for, right? My divine team this week was saying, you chose to be here for this chaos. You chose it. Why did you choose it? Because you knew that you could return to the truth of who you are, hold the space for those who cannot. And and affect change in a vibrational way. And to do things like this, like come before people who are in the 2% and remind them that there is a vibrational way to move forward with this, as well as the action way in which we move forward with it. So I don't know if there are others who see the world the way that I do. I tend to have a very afterlife perspective on the world because I'm AAF. I don't know. I don't even know if there's anyone in this community that's chocolate indulgence. Like, well, I'm Moroccan Sky, not chocolate indulgence. I don't know if anyone has been able to, not that anyone has to, by the way, has been able to move into the space of seeing life through the eyes of source, rather than through the eyes of what's happening in the media and through the eyes of what's happening on our television sets and on YouTube and, you know, all these different things. Because when you move into the space of seeing life through the eyes of source, not through your human eyes, and the 98% can't see life in any other way, but through their humanness, right? That's the lens through which 98% of this world is seeing life. But I do believe that the 2% of us on planet Earth who were called into this awakened state and are able to see life through the eyes of source, we were given that ability. Well, everyone has that ability, it's just they forgot. We're not special in the 2%. We just woke up. We woke up from the dream, right? And I don't know if there are others who can see that there's a different way to perceive this. And again, I highly recommend Neale Donald Walsh's Awaken the Species, Conversation with God, Awaken the Species. I was listening to that pretty much all day yesterday and part of the morning this morning, just to remind myself how highly evolved beings behave. There's an interesting, and again, 2% of you will get this, the other 90% of you will be like, one of the things that he was asking in his conversations with God is, so if there is no justice, because they actually were talking about, it's interesting because I had a conversation with my divine team about justice. And then as I was listening to Neale Donald Walsh's book, he was describing one of the ways to tell that you're in a highly evolved society is that the concept of justice doesn't even exist. And so Neale Donald Walsh was asking, well, if you don't have justice and somebody kills somebody, like if somebody's coming toward me to kill me, what am I supposed to do? Not defend myself, right? And again, 2% of you, maybe even 1%, I don't even know, maybe 0.00001% is gonna get this. But the answer was, in a highly evolved society, of course, that probably wouldn't happen. But if you choose to be a highly evolved being, you just lay your life down. And he was like, what? What do you mean lay my life down? I'm here to protect my life. And they were explaining, when you know that you can never actually die, as a highly evolved being, you're not so concerned about being dead, you know? But we ain't no way close to that, as we know. We ain't no way close to that right now. As a civilization, as a species, we are incredibly primitive. And so what they were saying is, when you know that you are eternal, when you know that this body is going to get dead anyway, you're not so concerned about, and it's not that we're going to be cavalier about life. No, go ahead, kill anybody you want to kill. It's not that. It's just you have a different way of seeing life. I can't say that I'm there. I might try to protect myself from somebody coming at me. I'm not there. I am not there. And there's a lot of animalistic instinct in our primitive society. And we are prone to looking to hurt another if we are hurt. And it's not just out there, it's in us. You know, we wanting to see somebody caught and hurt and paid for, and you want them to suffer as a result of whatever suffering they cause, completely oblivious to the fact that it's just a perpetuation of suffering that's being advocated for, you know. But that's just where we are. You know, my divine team all week this week was saying, it's where you are right now. It's where you are right now. And the best you can do is allow people to see that there's a different way to be, and be that yourself. It's not even advocating for that. It's just wake up and be that yourself. And when you're able to wake up and be that yourself, you don't need to look out in the world and go, hey, everybody, we need to be more highly evolved beings. You know what I mean? You just be that in as many ways as you can be that. And what happens in your reality begins to shift. And if we each individually choose to embody the truth of who we are, then everything in our experience shifts. And then that blossoms and magnifies and magnifies and magnifies into the world, just like the magnification of police brutality, the magnification of anger, the magnification of frustration, the magnification of whatever is happening right now. The same can happen for the embodiment of who we truly are. And we may be very, very far from that. Somebody asked in the last live stream, how long is this going to happen? For as long as we choose to focus on the thing that we don't want, we'll continue to perpetuate it in our world. But most of the world is completely unaware of how the cessation of focusing on what you don't want affects what actually happens. We are very, very strong believers as a society, as a civilization, as a species, that action is the only way to change things that's wronged. And most of our civilization and most of our species is completely unaware of the oneness that we are. And only when we get dead, we realize, oh, you are me and I'm you. So for me to advocate for your pain is advocating for my pain. And if you and I are one, and if we are not separate, and if we are exactly the same, which we are, and we only get to see that when we are dead, we realize the connectedness of our energy. And if I want harm for you because you did something wrong, then I'm really advocating for harm for me as a part of the whole. And again, I'm not saying that I have a solution. I'm just saying we can become more of who we truly are. Forget what's happening out in the world. The world is us, individual people making that up. You know what I mean? But if we harm another, we harm ourselves, you know, and we don't see that, you know. When someone does wrong to another, justice, somebody got to pay, somebody has to hurt, somebody has to suffer. And the 2% that's AAF, you know, we're one. Are we one or are we not one? So even though we may feel a little bit of anger, frustration, and all of that, if you're in that 2%, life is calling you back to remembering that we are one. And to hurt another is to hurt ourselves. And if you're taking action, from what place is that action coming from? You can be out there protesting from a place of love and from a place of advocating love. And you can be out there protesting from a place of frustration, anger, fed up. And that is a different energy to be out there from than the space of I'm advocating for unity. I'm advocating for racial harmony. And we'll get to the point in our world eventually, so promised my divine team, where the word racial doesn't even come up because we're one race. So it's kind of like me growing up in Trinidad and I never heard about being Black because everybody was Black. So it was never a point of conversation. You know what I mean? So similarly, once we realize, oh, we're all one race, the human race, then race stuff doesn't, like the term anti-racism and racist and racial and discriminate, racial, this, all that's going to get thrown out because we're just one race, we're human. And that doesn't even need to be mentioned because we recognize that we're all one. We're not there. We're not there. In Conversations with Spirit Awaken the Species, one of the things that they were saying was, this is a very young species. Humanity is a very, very young species. And so we think we're so advanced and we're making all these computer things, and well, now we have human robots, you know. But as a species, we are incredibly primitive in the way that we process our pain, in the way that we process anything that doesn't go our way. We are incredibly primitive. And whenever anything doesn't go our way, our animalistic tendency kicks in instantly. And I don't care how much love and light you is. Let somebody do something to your mama in front of your eyes, or to your child in front of your eyes. That animal instinct is up, right? And that's just our natural tendency, and our nature is very animalistic, and our nature is very primitive. In human form, of course, we're light and love in our non-physical selves, right? But in our human animalistic form, there's a woman, her name is Nancy Dennison. She had a near-death experience, and on the other side, she realized she came back, and the only term she uses toward humans now is human animals, because from the other side, that's what we look like, human animals. And it's true, where I accept that I've got some growing to do. I accept that I've got some animal instinct in me. I'm fire, you know, ain't proud of it, but I'm fire sometimes. But man, listening to awakening the species, I'm like, damn, I'm so primitive. God, you know. But you know, it's an evolution. We're not going to get there. You know, I was saying to my divine team, how long? You know, just like someone asked last week before we get there, and they're saying it's not overnight, because you're a very young species. You're very animalistic in your tendencies. You're very primitive. But we're here. You know, more and more of us are waking up. That's why more and more people are channeling. That's why more and more, only 2% will get this, maybe 0.000.1. That's why other beings from other planets are making contact with us, because they see our pain. They see we going real slow like molasses trying to evolve. And they're in a different place. There are different planets where people are living in different ways, and in more evolved, highly evolved ways. And they're making contact with us through channeling, through different ways of contact, to help our species evolve, right? Not talking to the 98%, y'all are raising your eyebrows right now. The 2%, you get it. There's species from other planets that are wanting to make contact with us, because they see that we can be helped in how slowly we are evolving out of our animalistic primitive tendencies. And from a place of love, they are wanting to be here with us and to coach us through how to move through this theatrical production in a more highly evolved way. And when you know that this is a theatrical production at play here, like when everybody who's murdering and doing all these different things, when they get dead, not talking to the 98%, talking to the 2%, nothing happens. They're love and light just like us. You know, if we kill the person who killed George Floyd, yay, justice was served. He's going back to the light. He's love and light just like us. You know what I mean? There's nothing different that happens once we're done with this theatrical production, right? Can we have the play out in a different way so we can have more pleasant experiences here? Yes. But we're all light beings playing roles, you know, for whatever purpose, we're playing roles here. And the 2%, who's AAF, we have to remember that these are roles that are being played. This is a theatrical production being played out, right? And at the end of it, we're all going to high five each other. You know, like my divine self is going to be high fiving the divine person who murdered somebody. And nobody wants to hear that in the 98%. They're not ready for that. They're in the primitive world. They're like, hell no, there's a hell they go to the summer. How could there not be a hell for these people? You know? But go watch a whole bunch of near-death experiences. You know, it's and when you're awakened, you don't even have to watch that. You just come into the knowing of what's true. You know, So if we know that, how do we behave now? And that's how, I could have my little moment of anger. I can have my little moment of pain. I can have my little moment of frustration. But then I move back into, and when I get dead, what's this going to look like? You know what I mean? That I go right back to that every time. It's like, when I get dead and I look back at this, how would I have wanted to contribute to what's happening? And I contemplate that. I truly sit in contemplation of that. When I'm dead and I'm reflecting back on this theatrical production, what role would I have wanted to play, knowing what I know as an AAF person, right? What role would I have wanted to play while all this stuff is playing out in the theatrical production of life on planet Earth, right? And when I sit in contemplation of that, I do live streams like this, because this is the role I want to play. And even if no one else is playing that role, and I'm the only Moroccan sky, chocolate indulgence person playing that role, I choose to play that role. If I get torn down for playing that role, I'm playing that role, because that's what I want to look back and know that I contributed to. Everybody else is playing the roles they were here to play. I have no judgment for whatever roles people are choosing to play. But in as much as I'm called to play the role that I'm called to play, I'm going to play it in the way that from the place of clarity that I'm feeling. And this is how I'm choosing to play my role in the midst of all of this. Each of you gets to choose how you play your role. Stop talking about all this happening in the world. Why is the world like this? How can we make a better world? Shush. You make a better world by you choosing to embody whatever betterment you think should be out there in the world. You know what I mean? We so quickly want to go, the world should be a better place. Of course, the world should be a better place. But what's the world? The world is each individual person. It's each individual person. It's not like out there. It's here. This is it. Don't be looking out there to see who's changing the world. It's like, no, you're it, boo. You are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We each are the world, and we don't see that. We're looking out there going, yeah, he did that. He should be here. We're it, man. We're it. Examine the vibration from which you are responding or reacting to what's happening. There is no judgment for you, no matter what you choose. If you choose to be pissed off, that's fine. If you choose to respond in anger, that's fine. If you choose to tear down Trump, we all know he's stupid, but we can't, he's still, are we one or are we not one? That's all I'm asking. Are we one or are we not one? How you choose to experience it is fine, but I'm talking to the 2% today, the AAF, okay? That's who I'm talking to today. Maybe next week I'm gonna talk to the 98%, but today I'm just inviting the 2%. Stay the fuck woke. Sorry. Wake the fuck up. Don't fall asleep. Don't get unconscious in all of this, okay? Stay awake, okay? That's what we are here for. If you're in that 2%, you were called to hold the space for that, okay? Just, you've gotta, you don't have to. You can be whatever the hell you wanna be. I'm just saying, if you're in that 2% and life woke you to hell up, don't be going unconscious on this, okay? Because it's very easy to go unconscious on this. Very, very easy. Because there's a swell of energy, especially in the chocolate indulgence world. There's a swell of energy that can suck you in at any given time, especially if you're clicking around on social media trying to see what's the latest news on what's happening in Atlanta and what's happening, I didn't know what's going on in Atlanta until I overheard my son telling somebody on a Zoom connection he was doing. I'm like, what happened? I never know.
But we have to stay conscious. If we're not staying conscious, why are we here? Just to follow the crowd in terms of, what's going on in the world. And again, I have no judgment for what's happening. It's totally fine. It's fine. I have no judgment. Everything is exactly the way it should be according to my divine team. I accept that. I fully accept it. I fully embrace that there's a diversity of ways in which we each are processing what's happening. I'm just advocating that we stay woken. Stop hitting the snooze button because the topic changed, right? The topic changed, and all of a sudden, law of attraction is, everybody talk about law of attraction when it comes to money, law of attraction, law of attraction. This is how we do law of attraction for money, law of attraction for money. Well, law of attraction is still there with regard to racism. It didn't go away just because the topic changed. Stop hitting the snooze button. Stay awake. Stay awake and turn off. It's when we let all of these stories come into our lives, right? You keep watching the same damn thing over and over. The news media is happily, CNN, constant negative news will happily provide you with a steady stream of what's going on. Why you need to? You already know the swell of energy is going to create more of it. Of course, there's going to be more police brutality. Of course, the cops are going to shoot down some more chocolate people because that's where the energy is. Why are we shocked? Now, the 98%, not talking to you, talking to the 2% that's AAF. Why are we shocked? If all of the energy is moving in that direction, of course, we're going to see more of it until you settle down and move the energy in a different direction. What happens is we get outraged and we take these actions from the place of rage and anger and frustration. And again, it's totally fine. My divine team told me all week long, leave people alone, Allison. They ain't none of your damn business. You do what you're here to do. All of that's totally fine. And then we look back and we go, see, it's because we did that that something changed. Exactly. So the next time, in our primitive state. But it's only happening that way because we choose for it to happen that way. We can become more highly evolved and affect change from a much more highly evolved place. What would happen if something happened on the street and all of a sudden, like 1 million people said, let's get our collective energy in on this? Not gonna happen anytime soon. It's only 2%. Ain't gonna happen anytime soon. But what would happen if we, as awakened people, say, let's get together and have a focused meditation on what's happening right now? And we choose to catapult our energy in the direction of what we do want. The effect would be massive, wouldn't it? You don't get that if you ain't AAF. You ain't at the 2%, you're stuck like, ah! And it's fine. We're just where we're at. We're just where we're at. Rachel is saying, no judgment. Let these people fall asleep, Allison. They tired. That's funny. That may be true. They may be so tired that they got to fall asleep. They're like, all right, I hit the snooze button. I'm going to sleep in on this one. I'm going to sleep in on this one. It may be. Okay, let me go to some of your comments here. Let me go to the Zoom comments first. Okay, well, y'all be talking. And for those of you who missed the chocolate indulgence and papaya smoothie reference, you have to go search for Sam Adams Chocolate Indulgence on YouTube. It's a comedy bit where he was talking about nobody's black and nobody's white. Find your true color. I'm Moroccan sky. If you're dark, you're probably chocolate indulgence. If you're white, you're probably papaya smoothie is what he was saying. All right. Okay. See, I was saying Coach D is one of the people I saw maintain the energetic focus on the issue. I don't know who that is. I'll have to Detox Life Coaching on Instagram. I might have to check that out. I did see some other people maintaining the focus on the fact that this is an energetic universe and using their platforms for that. But it was typically individual people. I was looking for people who have hundreds of thousands of people following them. I swear to God, there's one person No judgment, okay? I'm just relating a story. And there was 15,000 people watching the live stream. And I popped in and they were like, let's just sing blessings, love, and light to the police officers out there in the street. Not every one of them is brutal. Let's send love and light, love and light. Let's just do that right now. Love, light, and blessing. And I'm like, yes, yes. And then they stopped and said, but I have to be truthful. I can't send that to the White House right now. I'm like, oh, okay. That's the end of that. But she was being truthful. She was like, I'm not there yet. I'm confessing. I'm being truthful. I'm not there yet. I can't send blessing to the White House right now. So, hey, everyone's dealing with their own shit. You know what I mean? Everyone deals with it in a different way. Joanna is saying, you know what's so strange? As I thought the same thing. This is Bashar 101. Yeah, it is, isn't it? What you push against must persist, or what you put out is what you get back. Yeah. And for a while, we're going to push against, you know, we're just going to keep pushing against, and, you know, people will get tired and then they'll simmer down and then things will start to change. And I don't know how we're going to get there. I just know how I'm going to move forward in the world. I can't make choices for other people, you know? Yes, Gia, everyone handles it differently. Pena, Shardon, Byron, Katie. I don't know what you were asking, Rachel. Clarify. Love your eyeshadow. That's Moroccan Spice Shadow Palette by Rihanna. Rachel is saying, I'm over the justice stuff, to be honest. I shifted a week ago and so refocused on my passions. Byron Katie speaks beautifully on this with her near-death experience. So true. Yeah, we all can be vindictive, girl. And anyone who thinks they can't be, let somebody bully your child. That primitive side will come out in a New York minute, you know. We have it. We all have it. We're all not yet highly evolved. And it's okay. We came to play that game. I had a brief convo about forgiveness with my divine team, and they said everything was divinely intended and that our souls had agreements to play these roles for the greater expansion of us, that of each of us would experience. True. Yeah. Dolores is saying, what you say makes sense to me. Have been contemplating many of these ideas. Yeah. And I think that's where we can go more often, is that place of contemplation, instead of clicking on all these damn YouTube videos that tells you a million different things about what's going on in a negative way, you know. Giving myself, Regina is saying, giving myself and others necessary space to feel. Yeah, we have to give people the space to feel. We are the world. Focused meditations change things. They do. Not enough of us recognizes, I shouldn't say not enough. There's a small handful of us that recognize that. And we're here to play that role. You know, we're here to play that role. So I was loving that. I think it was if somebody can help me with the movie of the guy who went into the prisons and had all the prisoners meditate. They filmed it and they made a documentary out of it, but it was so powerful to hear the prisoners, when these guys have lifetime sentences for the crimes that they committed. And they found themselves on the meditation pillow, not a word spoken. We think we have to preach at people and tell them what they need to do differently and coach them out of their shit, you know? And that's fine, that works, many times that works. But all this Buddhist monk did, and I think it was a Buddhist monk, maybe I'm misquoting, I don't know. But all he did was go in and call a meditation time and have them sit on meditation pillows and go within. And because we're each divine beings, given the space, and this is another thing, y'all. We're running all day long. Clicking on YouTube videos, watching the news, listening to the accounts of everything that's happening. Why not give that space and that time to stillness and meditation and quiet? You know, if you're struggling with the frustration and the anger and the desire for retaliation, how about you sit your butt down on your meditation pillow? I'm not promising it's going to change, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's not going to change. But it might change a little faster if you shut off the damn streams about all this stuff and use that time. What, instead of going in another click on another video, why not just decide that, you know what, instead of going to watch this, I'm just going to sit in the corner for 5 minutes with my meditation. I'm just going to sit my butt down for 5 minutes and just be still and just release all of the thoughts, release all of the perspectives, all of the judgments, just release it and just be still and be quiet. And in those times, you'll find yourself, you can't hold on to that shit when you're still and coming back into the recognition of who you truly are and tuning into spirit, your guides, your divine team, your higher self, the light that you are, the love that you are. You cannot sit in stillness and connect to the light that you are and connect to the love that you are and continue to feel dense energies. It's okay to feel it. I'm not saying don't feel it. Feel your anger, feel the pain, feel the frustration, the sadness, all of that. I felt it all. But how much time are we each individually devoting to stillness, to contemplating the truth of who we are, to contemplating the oneness that we are, to contemplating the roles that we are each playing in whatever is at play right now? How much are we each individually? Don't look out there, look in here, like in your day, in your 24 hours. How much of your time is stillness, quiet, contemplation, meditation, and listening to your inner guidance? Inner guidance. You can't go there and hold on to denser energy. You can't coexist. Can't coexist. It cannot. So find that place of stillness too. You know, we wake up, we go do stuff, we come back, we go do stuff, we go in, we go do stuff. Why not be still? You know, why not be still in all of this? One poor chocolate person got torn down for just choosing to be still for 2 weeks and not coming to her platform of, you know, hundreds of thousands of people and speaking about what she's feeling, because she's like, I'm dealing with my own shit right now. I need to go inward. I need to go find my space. And people are like, no, you need to talk. You need to come against this, you know. People unsubscribed, people tore her down for just taking the space to get still. Like, but that's the 98%. The 2% get it. The 98% will never get that until that evolution comes into play and that space of love and moving back into the truth of who we are. Until that starts to play out more and more, it just, you know, we just are where we are right now. Byron Katie spoke about being ready to lay down her life. Eckhart or John Kabat-Zinn, I don't know. It wasn't Eckhart. You mean to talk about the person who went into the prisons? I don't know if Eckhart has done that too, but I know that there's a documentary. Hand raised by Miss Tanya. Tanya, did you need to speak? Or did you accidentally raise your hand? I need to go to the raised hand place. I'm assuming you do want to talk. Don't let me unmute you if you're like, no. Okay, great. Tanya wants to speak. Hang on, don't speak yet. Okay, go ahead. Oh, did I not unmute you? Oh, you have to unmute yourself. I'm trying to unmute you, and it's not.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So excuse any noise because my granddaughter is watching Peppa Pig outside there.
Oh,
but so I didn't go and see what my color is, but I believe I'm probably Moroccan Sky too, because I'm probably in that
And
range.
Moroccan sky people.
Yeah. So, but I would say that I haven't been, I've always been here in the US. My family's from Jamaica. So I would say I've been splashed in between splash
Splash
and
not
soap.
soaked.
Yeah. Right in between
That's
the
Rachel.
two.
Rachel's was splash not soaked.
In between the two. So, but my perspective is one of I really, I really don't see color so much. Um, so there's no anger or anything right now. I feel the hurt of people. I feel that my sons, I have twin boys, 25 years old, 26 the other day actually, and they were really pretty devastated over all this, and they needed hugs and talking to and everything, which is fine. And I, to be honest, my question was, why is this affecting people so much now when so much has happened already? That was my question. And so, and like you, I don't listen to the media. I don't even know what you're talking about in Atlanta that's going on in Georgia.
I wouldn't have known if I didn't overhear it either.
I didn't even know it when you were talking about. I was like, what? What happened?
You don't
So,
want to know. Just stay where you are.
exactly. So, with Mr. Floyd, the part that really got me, I believe that he had called out mama through
Yeah,
all of this, and that hurt my heart.
of course. That's painful. Yeah.
But it didn't lead me into anger or frustration. I do really would love to see equality for all in the media, just all across the whole board. Um, but what really brings me back into myself quite often is I've read Awaken the Species like 3 or 4 times already.
It's powerful, isn't it?
It is so
I
powerful.
did already. I've read it about 3 times, and I started reading it again yesterday.
Yeah, I actually read it, so I think now I'm gonna get the audio,
Mhm.
because I think you played the audio, right? A part of
Yeah,
it,
yeah. The audio
and
is
that
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, the audio was powerful. So I'm gonna do that. But what also helps me, he has another book, um, the little the little soul and the sun.
Oh, and that's for kids, but boy, that's a powerful
Yes,
adult message right there.
that's very powerful adult message. So last week when I had said we have to, also talk about or think about the soul that did kill Mr. Floyd. Like you said earlier, I believe that it's a soul contract. These two had a contract probably, and they're probably best of friends. Best of
Souls, right?
soulmates.
Souls. Mm.
Yes, best of
Only
souls.
the 2% got that. Everybody else pissed.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just read that book or listen to that book, it's on YouTube.
Highly recommend. Go on YouTube, everyone, and search for The Little Soul and the Sun.
Yes,
There are
because
people reading the book.
yeah,
Very
because
powerful.
it explains how the soul wanted to come back into onto or go into earth to know or to feel itself. It knows itself, but it wanted to feel itself, experience itself on earth, and doing that through forgiveness.
Mhm.
And another soul said, "I'll do that for you. I'll give that to you, but that might mean I need to forget who I am."
Ooh, and there was a powerful wording there where he said, and when I do this horrible thing to you, please do not forget.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly. Exactly.
please do not forget
Exactly. So
that
that's
I'm just lost in,
yes,
the role that I'm playing.
exactly. Exactly. So that's what I was reminded of when I think about that police officer. And also another great one that explains to me anyway what's going on, and that this is all an illusion, basically,
Yeah.
is Bashar. His name is Daryl Anka,
Yes. Yeah.
and he was involved in a movie called Dearly Departed, and I believe it's on Gaia.
Yeah, it's on Amazon too.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Dearly Departed, it it really speaks to people who have died, mostly. Not
Yeah.
all of them have died, but they might have had near-death experiences, or they just what is that called again when you go out of body experiences. And it talks to all of that and how they say, you know, I was your mother and I was your father and I killed you and you killed me, and they're just laughing about it
Yeah.
as souls.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
It's a theatrical production. When we get done, we're all high-fiving each other, you know?
exactly. So that really, you know, that's what I'm thinking of. It's something I already remembered. So when I see these things, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna mute you again. To your question on why is this happening now? I think its time has come. There are so many things that were hidden that I mean, there's a lot of papaya smoothie people that were in oblivion. They're papaya smoothie. They don't have to deal with racism. And this had to happen to raise up the advocacy for anti-racism and to raise the awareness that this is still happening. There is a lot of the chocolate indulgence population who live in fear. They live in literal fear. There are mothers like who live in literal fear of their Black child being out there, of their Black child driving. They're living literal fear that the police are gonna shoot their child down. And if you're papaya smoothie, you ain't got to wake up and worry about that. You're going about your life. And, and I think what has happened with this happening, as you said, soul contract, right? I think what has happened is all of a sudden a lot, and if you listen to a lot of people who are papaya smoothie, listen to them talk. They're like, you know, this was not my world. I didn't know that this was going on. I didn't know, unless, you know, you're a part of the racism that's going on, you don't know. And now they're like advocating for equality and advocating for racial harmony and all of that. And I think a lot of the world was very much asleep on it. Now, if you're African American, you weren't asleep on it. You live in it day to day. It's kind of like the little boy who the 12-year-old boy who's, I don't know how his video ended up in my stream. I think because millions of people watched it or whatever. Little 12-year-old boy whose mother wrote the song where he was singing, I Just Want to Live. Heartbreaking that a 12-year-old boy has to sing that song. And his mother wrote the words to the song. And when I guess he was a cross-country runner, and she heard of somebody in her community that got shut down, a Black person. And she told her son, you can't go running cross country because you might get shot, you know, and the police may have mistaken you for something and then you get good. They're living with that fear. That's like a literal fear of African-American mothers for their sons, you know. And even though I don't live there, I know that that's true for a lot of people. They're like, there's fear, you know, like gripping them. And if you papaya smoothie, living your life, going into corporate America, getting your promotions and, you know, you're doing your thing, you don't even know that that's happening, you know? And for the world to move into another experience, it had to erupt in the way that it is. And I think even though it was happening all along in the African-American community, there's a lot of people who are oblivious to that. If you're in your white picket fence and you know, papaya smoothie and you going to work and you have no idea that this is happening, you know? And I think and that's why a lot of people are of different races and different colors are on board now, because they're suddenly awakened to the fact that, oh crap, this has been happening, what? You know? And yes, there are some who've always known that it was happening and they're just turning a blind eye. They don't want to see, you know, that's happening too, I'm sure. But I think the unity that's happening is because of the awareness being exploded and exposed in a way that it never had. And maybe it's suddenly the world is ready to say, you know what, we don't want to do this to people. You know, it's not right, you know. The world is ready for that now. And I think from what's happening with all the protests, it's a lot of the millennials that are protesting. they don't want any part of this. You know what I mean? They're like, no. This is not how we treat people. They're millennials. They're like the new breed of humans coming onto this planet. And the new breed of humans coming onto this planet, they're like, no, ma'am, no, what y'all doing? You know, it's kind of like how your children are like, no, we ain't trying to have a 9-to-5 job right now. No, that's not what I came to this planet to do, right? If you talk to the 20-something-year-olds and the 18-year-olds, they're like, no, that's what y'all did. No, that's not what I came here to do. So they're here to make a change. And a lot of the people who are protesting are the younger ones, are the 22-year-olds and the 25-year-olds and the 18-year-olds that are out there going, whoa, this ain't the world I want to live in. No. Of all colors, right? So I think it's happening because it was a sore and a wound that was hidden. And the scab had to be pulled off for the healing to happen. Otherwise, we would just be living with this little, ugliness under the blankets, and nobody's talking about it, nobody's seeing it. But now it's completely exposed. Like all these large corporations are having campaigns, Procter and Gamble campaigns all over YouTube and showing up in my YouTube stream. Amazon.com, like all these big companies now are on board going, whoa, we need a different world. And yes, some of them may be doing it just, we know some of that's going on, doing it just to get, accolades or whatever. But even so, it's still exposing what's been going on in a really big way. And the hidden racial inequality that's been hidden from the world is no longer hidden. And I think that needed to happen in order for us to evolve and become more highly evolved beings, And I think Rachel's raising her hand. Hang on. Go ahead, Rachel.
Hey, Chico, what's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, so
this is my girlfriend who has the Trinidadian mom, by the way.
Oh yeah. So I was like, right. So I was definitely splashed growing up because my father is African American. So I have, I guess, one foot in the soaked world and one foot in the dry world, I guess you can say. Yeah, so it's so interesting to me because I was talking to my mom about that, and she was like, basically, the same sort of regard of like not having any sort of frame of reference to understand, all the hurt and the pain that's been going on growing up when she was growing up here in America, because she came over like when she was in her late teens, pretty much. And so like my experience was very much so similar, where I grew up learning about Black history, right? Like in America, you learn about Black history, you have the whole February month and stuff like that. So I grew up aware of that, but I also just never, race wasn't something that like my parents instilled in me to like be fearful of and stuff like that. And so it's so interesting to me, like right now, like in the stage that I'm at right now, I'm just like so over this conversation in a lot of ways. But I also definitely understand like exactly what you said. And one of the things I wanted to add was not just like the wound for Black people, but also just sort of like the ignorance of the fact that this wasn't that long ago, if you think about it. Like in the 1960s was only like 40 years ago. You know what I mean? That segregation ended and all this stuff. So I don't see. Yeah, it's not a shock to me in a way that all this stuff came up, you know what I mean? Because still like 40 years ago, like Black people were not seen as equal, to the white counterpart. So it's not that long ago, you know what I mean? But I understand why all this stuff has to come up, right? Like on both parts, right? And even this whole like, thing about like white supremacy, let's end white supremacy and stuff. To me, it's so some of the messaging that's going on to me is just so kind of funny to me, because it's like, it's exactly what you said. If you preach, justice, but no peace, or if you preach, if you focus on the killings and stuff, then you're going to get more killings. And I think it's the same thing. Like people have like well intentions in regards to their protests, right? Or like, just to make more people aware of it. But I feel like, the chocolate indulgence people, we have a long way to go as far as like, not a long way, but like just waking up to the fact that white supremacy is just sort of something that we made up as well, right? Like it was something that was handed down to our ancestors and that we have to do a lot of healing of. I kind of talked about this on my own YouTube channel where it's like, you know, Black people are all angry at white people and all this other stuff, but we have a lot of our own healing and letting go of this idea that there is someone who's better than us, right? Because that was sort of like the programming as well, right? Yeah. So it's so interesting to me, like on both sides, like I get it, you know, like, yeah, it's so interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know, like on a personal level, like, you know, I've been reaching out to a lot of friends and stuff lately, and I'm just like, I don't know, I'm like, can't we just get past this already? Like we're already divine. I'm like, we're already divine. Let's just step into our divinity and just like, you know, kumbaya.
Yeah, that's only 2%, girl. The 90% still back there in the primitive way of thinking, and they're not seeing things that way. You know, it's a fight for people who aren't aware that a fight isn't necessary. I'm okay with people fighting, you know, but when you're spiritually awakened, you get that the fight brings on more opportunity for fighting, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I get it too, because like, you know, I have family members who've experienced things and girlfriends like whose sons were like targeted in school, and even like a close family member of mine, I didn't even know until like a few days ago that like my nephews were targeted in school. Like they were trying to expel them and all these kind of stuff. How my sister like overheard a conversation of some of the white principals and stuff. They were like trying to expel my nephews and stuff because they thought like, who is this Black woman to have all this money, and why is her son in a white school and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh wow, I did not know that even went down, you know? So this stuff is real. So it's not like people, you know what I mean? Like, cause my sister was also splashed as well. Like, you know, it's not like she grew up thinking about race all the time either. But so it's definitely, you know, experiences that people are having, but it's just like, you know, I definitely totally agree. It's like, we have to like address this like spiritually, because everything is spiritual. You know what I mean? Like
this is an energy universe.
Right.
And until we understand that, the only way we will evolve is slow as molasses through action.
Right, exactly. Oh my God. It's just, totally concur.
But it's where we're at, you know? Thank you.
Yep.
It's where we're at right now, unfortunately. Thank you for sharing. All right, well, I am complete. I just want to end with just repeating the, let me see if any, Siaf was saying, are you saying it needs to be seen first in order to be able to look beyond it, like be aware of what's happening and then turn focus to what is desired? I think it's deeper than that. I think it's more because where we are as a civilization, because there are civilizations on other planets that evolve through ecstasy. They evolve through ecstasy and beautiful experiences. They look at things and they evolve through beautiful experiences. And again, I'm talking to the 2%, the 98% of like, what are the planets? But there are other planets and other civilizations that evolve through harmony. It's evolved through awareness. We are a civilization that evolves through pain and evolves through things exploding like this. So I think it's not necessarily that, yes, it has to be first seen, but only because of where we are as a civilization. So we have to have things, we have to have shit hit the fan, and then we evolve past it, right? It's not, Gia's saying we're so behind. Yeah, we're not in the pool. We're a very primitive society. So in our civilization, the way that we have chosen to evolve, now we can choose something else, you know, we could choose to evolve through ecstasy, but we are in a civilization such that if there is a wound and there's something we need to evolve beyond, shit has to hit the fan first. And then we're going to move past it. It happens in our families. It happens individually. Come on, look at our own individual lives, right? Shit has to hit the fan for us to go, you know, I think I want to live differently. I'm done with this struggle. You know, I've struggled enough. Only till we hit rock freaking bottom that we go, you know, I think I'm good. I think I want an easier way. You know, after we work hard and blood, sweat, and tears trying to get money, suddenly we turn 40, 50, and we're like, oh God, I can't spend another 40 years like this. I'm done working so hard, you know, and we try to find a different way to be. but we're just like that as a civilization. We're very primitive. We're a very young species. We just got here. We feel like we've been here for a while, but as compared to other civilizations, we're very, very young and very primitive and very animalistic. And the way that we evolve right now is through pain and suffering and shit hitting the fan and stuff like this being exposed. And, you know, it's just how we have chosen to do it right now. Wish we'd chosen something else, but that's the path we've chosen. So I think some of that is what's playing out here, Siafu, is something needs to change. And in order for it to change, shit has to hit the fan. Stuff has to be exposed in a brutal way. You know, a soul like George Floyd and a soul like that police officer shows the brutality of what is at play that's been hidden. And then society goes, oh, damn, we've been asleep to this? What is going on here? No. You know, and that's kind of how we evolve as a society, you know? And there may be more hidden crap that's going to hit the fan, you know? What's happening in corporate America and with banks and our financial institutions, that's also going to hit the fan, and things are going to evolve and change past this monetary system that we've been playing with, you know? Hopefully we evolve a lot more so it doesn't have to be shit hitting the fan again, but I think we just are where we're at, you know, in terms of our civilization and kind of how we ain't nobody else doing it, how we have chosen to evolve in the midst of everything, you know. GSA, I just want to make some banana pudding and chill. Ooh, that sounds like a good thing to do after this broadcast. What are the names of the books again, or the movie? So we've talked about The Little Soul in the Sun. You can just search for that here on YouTube and hear someone read it. It's like 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute read, I believe. That's by Neil Donald Walsh. The other book is Conversations with God, Awaken the Species. I wish somebody could tell me the name of the movie, but I'm sure if you Google the movie, oh, somebody else, Tanya talked about a movie. Tanya, can you just say the movie again? The Dama Brothers. Yes, Siafu, that's it. Dama Brothers movie. Tanya, can you just put in the name? Dearly Departed is another movie. Dama Brothers and Dearly Departed, I know it's on Amazon Prime and Amazon Video, but there are other places too. So Dearly Departed, the movie, Dama Brothers, the documentary, The Little Soul in the Sun, Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. Different spiritual teachers have been mentioned as well, like, I forget. I know, Rachel, you mentioned a couple of spiritual teachers. Bashar, a lot of us know of Bashar already. Who channels Bashar again? I forget his name, but if you just look for Bashar, you'll see them. Byron Katie has some good work on it. Daryl Anker, Esther Hicks. By the way, Siafu sent me this video and I put it under the last live stream that I did, Feeling and Transcending the Pain. Under the video, I put a bunch of quick links, and one of the links is a video by Esther Hicks, where she was talking to somebody who said, my son, Black person, my son does not want to listen to me educating him about Martin Luther King, and how do I get him to listen to This Is the Way the World Is? You got to be in that 2% to get what Esther said on that one. But it was so powerful. When Siafu sent it to me, and I was listening to it, I was sitting right here listening to it, and I shoved my chair back, and I was like, yes. But again, you can't be in the 98% to watch that, because she papaya smoothie, and not everybody finna listen to a papaya smoothie person talk like that. But that is an awakened way to look at our history. But only the 2% AAF can handle that. Only 2% can handle that. I'm just saying. But that was powerful, man. Go under my last video. I don't know, Rachel, what's the name of the video, but go under my video, my last live stream, where the title of the live stream was Feeling and Transcending the Pain. And under my live stream, I put a bunch of quick links. And one of the Esther Hicks videos, the Esther Hicks video that I'm referring to, is in the quick links under there. Very short video, but it was Siaf was saying you can Google Martin Luther King, Abraham Hicks, and find it on YouTube too. So you can find it that way. But let me tell you, that is a perspective every spiritually awakened parent needs to hear. I don't know that if you're not spiritually awakened, you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. You'll be like, la, 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 nope, nope, nope. But that's how I see the world, you know? It's, she was essentially saying, why are you trying to infiltrate the child's mind with your history? They're here to live their lives. Why are you trying to suck them back into what didn't work for you and tell them they have to sit them down, tell them they have to listen to it? But she said, do you want a positive way to talk about Martin Luther King? And she went into a spiel about it, which was really, really powerful. But the whole video was really, really powerful. It was really, but you have to be ready for that. I don't even think the woman that was sitting there was truly ready to hear that. She might've been blindsided by that very different perspective, but it was very, very powerful. But gotta be in that 2% AAF to get that, man. If you start shifting in your seat as you're hearing that, you know you ain't ready, because a lot of people are not ready for that. A lot of people are not ready for that. All right, I'm gonna close by just reiterating the words of my divine team in the audio that I began with. Choose what you want to be filled with first, and that is what will spill out into the world. You are innately equipped to pulse out such a powerful vibration of love and light that you greatly impact the very world you think you will not be able to affect. And when you do, you are affecting the world instantly. Instantly. Not after the marches end. You affect the world instantly when you do it vibrationally. Instantly. And I'll refer you also to permanentpeace.org. That is an organization that's all about affecting the world from a vibrational perspective. You can check them out too. And I am complete with this conversation. Next time you see me here on YouTube, I ain't talking about this. I'm moving on. I'm good. I'm like Rachel. I'm ready. Move on to a new conversation. And I do have a couple other topics that I do want to explore with you all. So I'm done with my Moroccan sky self. All right, chocolate indulgence people, papaya smoothie people, high five to you all, love and light to you all. I hope that you all got something out of this, and you know, let's choose to make this world a better place from where we are. You know, that's how we do it. You know, we don't do it from where everybody else is. We do it from how we are. So I'm gonna move on to just closing things. Bye, everybody.